Kevin Morrissey, age 51, was born on January 12 in 1956 in New Jersey. He graduated from Middletown High School in 1974, and then in 1977 he graduated from Academy Preparatory School, better known as West Point. After graduating he joined the U.S. Army Special Forces, and later worked for the U.S. Diplomatic Corps. He earned his Middle Eastern Studies degree from the University of Texas in Austin in 1982. He also has a background with the Central Intelligence Agency. He spoke 3 Middle Eastern languages. He traveled abroad and lived some time in Cairo, Egypt and Jordan, then returned back to the United States. He lived in Hawaii for a short time, then moved to California. He met Mamiko Kawai while both were on a search and rescue mission. Morrissey was the Chief Information Officer and Administrative Director on the board of Medicine International, a non-profit that provides emergency medical disaster response teams and humanitarian relief around the globe. Kawai was part of the organization's medical disaster team that helped with the deadly 1999 earthquake in Izmit, Turkey. Mamiko Kawai graduated from the Jefferson Medical College in Philadelphia in 1992. She received her California medical license in 1993, and she began working at the San Francisco General Hospital as a family practitioner in women's and children's health during her residency. After her residency, she began working as a family practitioner and dermatologist at the Albany Family Practice at Alta Bates for 7 years. She resigned from that position to open a skin care business with her husband Kevin. The business was called the Aura Skin Care Center, located in Albany. Morrissey was the office manager, while Kawai cared for patients with various skin issues. She also gave laser treatments. The couple had 2 daughters, Nikki, age 8, and Kim, age 6. The girls were bilingual, speaking both English and Japanese. Both girls attended Cornell Elementary School in the Albany School District. In 2005, the couple purchased their 3-bedroom 1918 Craftsman home on the 1300 block of Northside Avenue in Berkeley, California for $640,000 from a patient of Kawai's. On June 18 in 2007 authorities responded to the Mineral Springs parking lot located off Wildcat Canyon Road, which connects Berkeley and Orinda. Numerous reports came in from people believing they heard illegal fireworks exploding in the general area. In the parking lot, hidden behind a Honda hatchback, police found Morrissey and Kawai, both deceased with a single gunshot wound to their heads. A .357 Magnum revolver was on the ground beside Morrissey's hand. Both Nikki and Kim were found in the back seat of the car, both dead from gunshot wounds to the head. In Morrissey's pocket, authorities found a 2-page typed suicide note. The note described financial issues. He took full responsibility for his actions, and said he was at a financial breaking point as the family skin care business was hemorrhaging money. He went on to say how other work opportunities were unattractive. In the letter he apologized to first responders who would find their bodies. He also gave ways for police to contact relatives. Detectives searched the family's home to be certain there were no other victims. A note was also found addressed to employees at their business. It contained instructions on how to close the business and deal with the aftermath of the deaths. There was only one other car in the parking lot, which belonged to a nearby hiker. The witness heard gunshots but didn't see anything. The investigation revealed that Morrissey purchased the gun used in the murders on April 19 at the Old West Gun Room in El Cerrito, a Carson Boulevard shop near their business. After the mandatory waiting period he was able to pick up the weapon on May 1, just a little under 3 weeks prior to the murders. This was the only gun registered to Morrissey. Further investigation revealed that just 12 days prior to the murders the couple refinanced the mortgage on their home, and took out another loan for $72,000. East Bay Park District Police Chief Timothy Anderson said, "I will tell you, "This is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen, with 2 beautiful children killed. There was absolutely no reason for this. It's unbelievable." He went on to say that the incident was clearly premeditated. He said the only question is how long he had been planning this prior to the murders. Dr. Nina Brinbaum, a friend and colleague who previously served her residency with Kawai, said, "They were the family we all want to be part of," said Dr. Nina Birnbaum, a friend. "Kevin and Mamiko loved each other so much. He called her his bride and she called him her groom. They never referred to each other as husband and wife. He'd say something like, 'Ask my bride about that.' It was very warm and endearing." Dr. Brinbaum continued saying, "As a physician, I can only think about the mental illness aspect of this, and that he must have been suffering. The way he loved his family so deeply, this must have been a situation of a severe lapse of judgment for him to do this. There was no outward indication of any kind of problem. I just wish that he could have reached out for help. I wish everyone who is troubled could just know that it's all right to ask for help." Professor of Psychiatry at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Philip Resnick, has studied parents who kill their children. He said the overwhelming majority of familicides in the United States are committed by fathers who are in financial trouble or after a job loss. He may have felt that they were all as miserable as he was, said Resnick, and the only alternative he saw was to wipe out the whole family. It's an extended suicide. Another professor of psychiatry at Stanford University, Douglas Levinson, said one should caution speculating as to what motivated Morrissey without knowing his personal and medical history. He said it could be misleading. It's incredibly harmful to people who are kind of like this guy, and may think their family is similar, he said. These extreme family tragedies are very rare and can't be explained by the ordinary issues and stresses that most of us face in our daily lives. Professor Levinson continued saying a homicide-suicide within the family is very rare. He said most people who are capable of homicide won't kill themselves. And the majority who will commit suicide are not homicidal. He said it's impossible to know for sure what drove Morrissey. He said it could be many factors, or none at all. We just don't really know, he said. Friends, relatives, and neighbors were shocked by the tragedy. Mail carrier Marie Desarmes saw Morrissey and his daughters early on the day of the murders. They were all smiling and friendly as usual, she said. He said, "Hi, Marie." And they all waved and we all told each other to have a nice day. It was perfectly normal. Neighbor Rich Jurinki said, "This was a very happy family, they were always laughing and playing. Just Sunday, they had a birthday party for Nikki." Said Rich, "It was an early birthday party, though. Her birthday wasn't for 2 weeks. The father just lived for those kids. The party lasted all day up until 11 p.m. at night, and I told them maybe the kids should be in bed. But they all said no, we're having fun." However, one family friend who lives in the same area, James Carter, said he knew the family since Kawai started practicing medicine. He said she was his family physician for many years. "We were supposed to get together for a barbecue in 2 weeks, said Carter. "We'd been talking about it for a couple of years." He went on to say he saw the couple just a week before the murders. He said that's when they made the plans for the barbecue. "Kevin looked out of it," he said, "like he'd had too many cups of coffee. The last couple of times I saw him he looked very stressed out." Carter went on to say that Morrissey told him he had been an officer in the CIA, and had been stationed in the Middle East. "He told me some intricate stories about what he'd done," said Carter. He said he was very frustrated with the CIA, and he complained about the bureaucracy. "He told me he spoke 3 different Middle Eastern languages, including Arabic and Farsi. He was a real smart guy in many ways, but he was also very hyper." Carter said Kawai was a very caring physician. "You'd see her in the supermarket, and she'd come up and give you a hug," he said. When the kids were sick and you called because the medicines didn't seem to be working, she'd call you back even if it was during the night. When you came into the office, she didn't rush you, and she didn't act like she knew everything. She was attentive, and you knew she really cared about you. Kawai was praised over the course of her career as a physician. Many patients posted their recommendation of the doctor on Barclay's Parents Network website, saying such things about her as being amazing, super smart, caring, scientific and thoughtful. One happy patient wrote, "I feel I am getting much personal attention." Another patient described her as energetic and extremely personable. Ironically, Dr. Mark Edward Stinson, who served as Executive Director of Medicine International where Morrissey served as Chief Information Officer and Administrator, was found dead in his Oakland home back on March 3. The autopsy was unable to rule on a cause of death due to the advanced state of decomposition of the body. At the time of his death, the 49-year-old doctor was a very well-known doctor in the Contra Costa Regional Medical Center in Martinez, California, which is only 50 minutes from Berkeley. He had worked as a physician there in the emergency department for over 20 years. Oddly, he also went to the same university, the University of Texas in Austin, at the same time as Morrissey. Furthermore, this was just a few months prior to Morrissey murdering his family and committing suicide. A memorial service was held at the Alta Bates Campus Auditorium in Berkeley, California for the family. Kevin Morrissey was a very accomplished man who served his country in the U.S. Army Special Forces. He also assisted in disaster relief and even was an officer for the CIA. He even co-owned his own business with his wife, but nothing was ever enough. Instead of possibly downsizing their very expensive home, or finding other ways to better their financial situation, he decided murdering his entire family was the best way to go. In doing that, he took from this world a very loving doctor and two lovely girls, who will never get to experience anything because their father felt he had the right to take their innocent lives. He was selfish and narcissistic. It doesn't matter what a great man he was prior to the murders. The moment he used a gun on his wife and innocent girls, he became evil. No good person could ever bring themselves to do such a thing. He deserved death, but his family did not. Furthermore, mystery surrounds his colleague, Dr. Stinson. It seems a little too coincidental that a doctor he went to college with, worked on the same disaster relief with, was found dead just months prior to Morrissey murdering his family then committing suicide. Maybe there was more to this Morrissey than even his closest friends knew. After all, he did work for the CIA for a few years. May his victims rest in peace. That concludes this episode. Keep your eye out for the next volume, coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.